And still, the undisputed African Fighting Podcast champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends. UFC 319 is here. Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And with me, as always, breaking down the card is the reigning being champion of the world is, of course, brother Guy.
Let's go. What an intro, bro. Yo, you got me all kinds hyped after that intro, brother.
I'm just hoping we don't get any copyright problems because of that, bro. But we'll see. It's in God's hands now, bro. But this is UFC 319. It takes place this Sunday at 4 a.m. South African time. As always, PG, we will start.
At the top of the card, let's go.
Bro, at the top of the card, we have Dricus Du Plessis, the middleweight champion of the world, number 4 in the pound for pound rankings. The champion is 23-2-0 on an 11-fight win streak, 9 by KO, 11 by sub, an absolute finishing machine straight out of South Africa. Last time out, he beat Sean Strickland by unanimous decision. He's coming up against Khamzat Chimaev, who is the number 3 middleweight. He's got a record of 14-0. He's got 6 wins by KO, 6 by sub. Last time, beat Robert Whittaker. All that stuff, bruh. So yeah, look, I mean, it's very difficult for us not to be biased here, brother Gaia, but we're going to try and be as professional as possible. The narrative, of course, coming into the fight is that if Dricus can survive the early storm, he gives himself a very good chance. So do you agree with that? Is that a good place for us to start the conversation, or do you see any other kind of dimensions to this fight here, bro?
Yeah, firstly, what a fight we have here. Bro, this is it's keeping me up for at night this week so far. Just puzzling myself about how this fight's going to play out. And also other fights we will get to. But this one in particular, I was just like, oh, how is this going to work? Who's going to do what? And listening to all the tabloids, listening to all the pundits talking about the fight, and everyone's going off information that was like in the past, right? Past fights, what it looked like back then. Everyone seems to draw their attention to Khamzat not going 5 rounds. He's never gone the 5 rounds. He looked a little bit tired against Gilbert Burns and against Kamaru Usman. But there's also a lot of other things that's not really been spoken about during that time. It's in context, you know what I mean? That's literally 3-4 years ago when those fights took place, 5 years ago when those fights took place. Start off, Khamzat was going through a lot of different, he wasn't able to find a weight class. He was struggling with weight, struggling with health issues. Was he the same guy? He does look a little bit more calm. He looks a lot more dangerous now than he ever has in the UFC. So I don't know if it's going to be as easy as everyone is saying that it's going to be. Khamzat doesn't get Dricus out there in the first 2 rounds. He's going to get wiped out round 3, round 4. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than that. Khamzat's style is very interesting, man. He's got this thing of he can shoot at any time if he wants to, right? If you see all of his fights, I like when someone Volkanovski was doing a breakdown on the 2 fighters and he was showing highlights of Khamzat's wrestling in the UFC. Now, the people that he's wrestled in the UFC, the fighters that he's wrestled in the UFC, other than Usman and Gilbert Burns, aren't really high-level wrestlers. Granted, Meerschaert has got an amazing record when it comes to submissions and his wins. We'll get to that also a bit later because he's on the fight card as well. But Meerschaert isn't elite, right? He isn't top 10. He isn't top 5. He's not that person. So a lot of the guys that Khamzat was bullying so easily weren't predominantly wrestlers, right? Not like Dricus. So I think it's going to be a much more competitive fight. Khamzat, one thing that Dricus is going to have to watch out for a lot is Khamzat's boxing may not be as devastating as Dricus' striking overall, because Dricus does come from K1 as well. But Khamzat does have sharp boxing. He doesn't wind up any hooks. He's very straight to the punch, straight to the target. No wasted energy or movement. It's very accurate and straight boxing, right? Very basic, but it works. It's got the fundamentals down. And he does have a mean right hand on him. But he usually does the striking to, kind of, he can go for a knockout, but once he sees that the spaces are limited now for his opponent, Khamzat drops down to both knees and he shoots for that takedown. That's why a lot of people can't seem to defend it. And it's so snappy and so fast. Normally he gets a takedown immediately after the first 2 seconds of the fight, right? I don't know if he's going to do that in this fight. I think he's going to probably stand and bang with. I think he's going to try to be as unpredictable as possible. Because if we look at all the tape at Khamzat this fight, every single fight that he has, he shot immediately after the touching fists with his opponent and then goes for a takedown. I don't know if he's gonna do that again. Even though he can and he has it in his back pocket to be able to do that, I think Khamzat's gonna probably try and box first and get Dricus into a comfortable state and then try and shoot in him. I do think it's gonna be wrestling heavy. Now, this is why I say it's gonna be wrestling heavy. If you've watched the unbedded episodes, the first episode, Mone first said something really amazing that got me jumping out of my seat. It was here with me now, and I was getting pumped when he said it. He said it. You think that Dricus is going to go in there and try to avoid the grappling? He's like, fuck that. Excuse my language, but that's what he said. Fuck that. We're going to go in there and we're going to wrestle him first. We'll take him down first. We're going to offensive wrestle Khamzat. He thinks that he's going to go in there and shoot immediately. What happens if Khamzat gets taken down? What happens if Khamzat has to defend wrestling? Right? And if you remember the wrestling thing, remember when he fought against, Khamzat fought against Arman Sarukian in the wrestling competition earlier this year, they had Khamzat beat him, but it was a lot of back and forth and Arman was holding his own against Khamzat for the duration of that fight until he got obviously bullied by the weight. But Arman is not Dricus. He's half Dricus' size. I don't think Khamzat will have. If he's smart, I don't think he should go and try and wrestle immediately because he's going to get matched with power. He's going to get matched with size, and he's going to get matched with wrestling. And what will happen is that will deplete his gas tank a lot sooner than what he would like to. So he's going to have to be more strategic than that. He's going to have to box heavy. And by the virtue of that, I'm going to favor Dricus. Not because of biasness, but Dricus does show, if you look at the tape of the two fighters, Dricus has shown that he can take the fight into different avenues. He beat Easy at striking, which led to the submission. You know what I mean? Not that Easy was landing good stuff on Dricus. There was a lot of body shots in him, but Dricus was able to adjust to that striking and start landing on Easy a lot more, and it led to his submission win. He outstruck Strickland. Right? Strickland isn't really the most greatest of strikers, but he is in the top. He's in the top 5, top 6 of the middleweight division. He is a former champion. Dricus has shown us that he can take the fight into different avenues if it needs to. He can grapple if he needs to. He can submit if he needs to. He can strike, and he can strike really well. He throws a lot of kicks that Khamzat doesn't do. Khamzat's kicks is maybe now and then he'll throw a body kick, but that's just to land something to manage distance. When it comes to striking, his best weapon is his right straight. That's Khamzat's best weapon. A 1-2 and a right straight is what he does. But you know what his best weapon is? It's when he takes you down and gets to the grappling. So what that means, he only has a couple of ways he can actually take the fight into his favor. Whereas Dricus has got more, right? And he's gone the 5 rounds. And I think he's going to be Khamzat's toughest opponent in terms of, I don't think he can hit Dricus and get him out of there the way he did to Meerschaert, for example. You know what I mean? Dricus is very, very durable. It's very tough. And I think it's going to, by the nature of that, Khamzat will have to do a lot more than he's ever had in other fights to get the W, in my opinion. And Dricus, he looks more fired up than anything. Like he's like, Khamzat is the boogeyman. Everyone is scared of this guy. He beat everybody. Everyone doesn't want to fight against him. And that is firing up Dricus. He's like, all right, and this is the guy to beat. If I want to do what I'm saying I want to do, what he's been saying the whole time, Khamzat's the guy you're going to have to beat to get there. I think that's why Dricus is going to go in and still, he's going to remain the champion.
Well said. So yeah, just kind of going into these other narratives, bro, because there is this guy called Coach Cal, who apparently is like the best cardio coach in the UFC. And Khamzat has been training with him. So in the event that this does go 5 rounds and Khamzat's cardio isn't actually as bad as people say it is, skill for skill,
I don't think it is.
What I'm hearing you say is that Dricus is a better fighter. Skill for skill.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. So, skill for skill. So, how does he get it done for you, bro?
I think Dricus gets the finish in round 4, round 5. He either gets a submission or he gets Khamzat out of there. Because we've seen Khamzat get cracked. Remember when he fought Gilbert Burns? Gilbert landed some good right hands on Khamzat in that fight. People didn't really... We haven't really gone back and watched the tape up until now. We know that this fight's happening. Up until this time, everyone is just going to say, you can go watch the fight back. You can go watch the fight back. But have you really gone and watched the fight back? And watched Khamzat versus Burns? I mean, Khamzat versus... When he did look a little bit shaky, which everyone's talking about, it's when he fought against elite guys like Gilbert Burns and Usman. Right? And the coach that you were mentioning, he's the same coach that coached TJ Dillashaw. Right? He's the same coach that got TJ Dillashaw to the championship stuff. But we all know during that time, TJ was what? He was enhanced. Not saying Khamzat's going to go get enhanced. Don't say Khamzat's going to go and get enhanced, right? But I mean, he's being coached by someone to help his cardio. I don't think that Khamzat's going to be what people think is going to be, where come to round 4 and round 5, he's going to be this absolute bogus of a fighter and he's going to have no gas tank left. It also depends on how the first 2 rounds go. The first 2 rounds are extremely wrestling heavy and Dricus still looks okay after it. Then maybe that narrative makes sense, right? But I think it's a championship fight. You rank number 3, you're a world-class fighter. There's no way that he can't go the 5 rounds. It's going to have to be competitive, in my opinion. So I don't think Khamzat's going to be as pop as people think he's going to be, unless they do wrestle extremely a lot in that first 2 rounds, maybe even in the 3rd round. Because we all know that tires you, though. And Khamzat does have a very good job at chain wrestling as well. Whereas Dricus is more of a, when he wrestles, it's to get the submission. It's not to chain wrestle anything. It's like, if I'm grappling with you now, my intention is to get you down as quickly as I can, efficiently as I can, and get the sub. I'm not going to get you down and we're going to stay here and we're going to grapple and we're going to chain and I'm going to drop an elbow. Dricus don't do that. Dricus is, once we're on the ground, it's all submission from there. So, yeah, it's a very, very fun, mind-blowing kind of fight that we're going to get here. And I'm expecting the best Khamzat, honestly. I'm expecting a hard, strong, durable, fit Khamzat in this fight. I really do. I think that's going to bring the best out of Dricus. Because every fight Dricus has gone into up until, in fact, all 9 of Dricus's fights in the UFC, he's 9-0 in the UFC, he was the underdog. That was against Strickland twice. It was against Easy. It was against Whittaker. He was the underdog in all those fights. And he won. And he won because being the underdog against elite fighters forced him to do what? You're not just here to play along and be a name on the roster. You know what I mean? That's Dricus's mindset. Yeah. It's like, if I'm fighting against these best guys, I have to be the best. I have to bring out the best in myself to compete against these dudes. Otherwise, they're going to beat me. It's the same thing here against Khamzat as well. And that's why I'm going to go with Dricus Du Plessis.
Nicely done, PG. Your Dricus Du Plessis by sub would be the most amazing thing to happen to our country this year, bro. Honestly, it would be such a statement win if Dricus Du Plessis could get a submission on Khamzat, bro. That would be insane. But yeah, fascinating contest. And sorry,
go on. No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if the only way I see him submitting Khamzat, if Khamzat is really, really tired and maybe he's got Khamzat rock. And Khamzat is on the ground and he's like, hands are dizzy and then Dricus thinking something on him there. But other than that, I think Dricus is going there to beat him up.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I just think that would be such a statement victory. But look, it's a absolutely fascinating contest. And like yourself, I was looking. I mean, of course, we are like super invested in it because it's the only South African UFC fighter. I mean, bar Cameron Simon at the moment, the only top contender from South Africa in all of history, bro. So this is like, we like very invested in this. But I'm very happy to see how much of a spectacle it is for the neutrals, like, for the US fan base, for the UK fan base, to see how excited everybody actually is for this fight. So just shout out once again to Dricus doing massive things, bro. We love you from the bottom of our hearts here at Fighting with Friends, and we wish you all the best with this one. Dricus Du Plessis, let's fucking get it. BG, any final thoughts from your side, bro?
Pardon me. Yeah, I think this is one for the ages. Counted, nobody gets hurt, no broken anything, touch wood, no one gets eye poked, and the fight has to get called doctor stopping. None of that bullshit. Hopefully both guys are good weight cuts, clean, no damaging, nothing, good fight camp, show up healthy and produce. Because on paper, it's this is pound for pound glory. This is elite of the UFC, elite of arguably the world. So this fight for me is one of the very few fights, other than like when Max Holloway fights, it's obviously biased, but I mean stylistically, in terms of how both guys like to fight. You mentioned Dricus's record and how many finishes he's gotten as well. And Khamzat is 14-0. These are killers. So this has to be a great fight. You know what I mean? So I'm super hyped. I can't wait.
Let's fucking go. Anyway, bro, we do have other fights we need to get to, but let us know your thoughts in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are incredibly biased, but we are trying our best here. So please drop a like on the video. But yeah, let us know what you think is going to happen for this one. We'll move to the featherweights now, brother Gaia. We've got Lerone Murphy, contender number 6 ranked out of the UK in the featherweight division. He is 16-0 7 by KO, 6 first-round finishes. Last time out, he beat Josh Emmett by unanimous decision. Arguably a bit of a boring fight there, but doing what he needed to do at the end of the day. I'll like to get your thoughts there, BG. But anyway, he's coming up against Aaron Pico, making his debut here. His professional record is 13-4-0. He's got on a 3-fight streak, 8 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub. last time out, he fought no one in the UFC because this is his debut, but he's coming from Bellator and the PFL. So, brother Gaia, what you got for us here, bro?
Yeah, this is a very interesting fight purely because it is kind of a late replacement for both gentlemen, right? I mean, Aaron Pico was supposed to fight against Mavzar Ibloev. Lerone Murphy was just waiting in the rankings there to kind of see what's going to happen next. And I like what Alex Volkanovski said about this fight as well. He said short notice, but good fight because this is pretty much setting up to see who Volkanovski fights next. Purely because Ibloev was the guy. He was supposed to be the next guy. And they gave him Aaron Pico. I don't think Aaron Pico gets a title shot after this. Even if he beats Lerone Murphy, I don't think he gets a title shot. But for Lerone Murphy, he was pretty much, in my opinion, one fight away of going for the title, right? If he didn't get the title shot, he probably would have fought against Diego Lopez. He's that close to it, in my opinion. Undefeated fighter. You mentioned Josh Emmett in his last fight. It was a little bit of a boring fight, but I would say boring to the casual, in my opinion. Purely because, you know, if you don't get the knockout, you're like, okay, then what was the exciting thing in the fight? But I like to tend to think about it like when you're in the fighter's shoes and you're in that octagon and the fighter going up against someone that can take your head off within seconds. Josh Emmett is that powerful. How do you beat someone like this? Right? And he did what he needed to do. He stayed the distance. He popped the jab out. He still needed to wrestle. He attacked the body when he needed to attack the body. Fought a fight where I'm not going to get touched by this, bruh. If that shows if that's going to be boring, it's fine. That's going to get me the W, to get me the paycheck, and get me close to the title. Josh Emmett could knock him out if he makes it a bit of a let's fight with the fans. Let's go. Let's put combinations out there and then get knocked out. And then what? You lose your opportunities. You know, especially in the current status of business model of the UFC, one loss can put you at the back of the line. You know what I mean? Even if you rank number 2, you know what I mean? Look at Piotr Jan, for example. After losing to Sean O'Malley, he had to go way back at the line for getting another call. So that's just how people the business has become. I mean, if Adam Pico is also in there, that proves my point. They come into this fight in particular, how I think it's going to play out. I watched some tape from Adam Pico yesterday, actually, with Jedi in Bellator, and I can see why they think he's this. You know, he's the stud, 28 years old. He's young. He's built like a truck. But the fights I watched in Bellator, he looked a little bit muffin topish. Not the way you see in the image right now, or the way he looked in the embedded episodes. Very wrestling heavy. You know, likes to put the pressure on, a lot of level changing, a lot of faking, a lot of level changing. Then gets the opponent up against the ropes, lets the boxing fly. Primarily, it's to get the person down and let the grappling go. He's a brilliant American wrestler. But again, American wrestling, what's that really? It's very explosive. You know, it's trying to get pinned positions, but really getting submissions. It's more about just grappling and controlling your opponent, which is also taxing on the stamina of the body. So that's why I've never really been a big fan of the American wrestling, purely because of that reason. It's just too tiring for the wrestler itself. That's trying to be offensive. And Lerone Murphy, in my opinion, is almost like Leon Edwards in the sense, like, phenomenal athlete. Maybe he doesn't have the dog mentality to, like, you know, I'm willing to die in there, but athletically, he's up there. I put him up there in terms of, like, just being a very good athletic fighter, someone that can coach really well, someone that can use the fundamentals really well, someone that does things by the book, you know, the textbook, that do things absolutely perfectly. And that's the kind of fighter that can actually beat someone like Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico can't take him down and can be forced to box. I think Lerone Murphy beats him there because Lerone Murphy, for me, is more accurate, he's cleaner, he's crisper, he's got better technique. And I like the way he moves, bro. He's a very intelligent fighter. Sometimes it can be boring to the naked eye, but in my opinion, sometimes you just have to be a little bit clever and know your opponent. If you know that Aaron Pico, in my opinion, seems to be the stronger, more muscle bound, more powerful, heavy lifter kind of fighter, then Murphy's going to have to use distance here. He's going to have to fight with an elbow once they get into a clinch to maintain his distance. Not allow the takedown to ever really happen. I do believe if they stay standing, Pico doesn't really have. He's got the knockout power, but can he really let that knockout land? Can he connect on the Lerone Murphy, who's very elusive, very creative? And like I say, he's just the athlete, in my opinion. So I know that a lot of people's going to say, "Oh, what the hell do you mean by that?" Because Aaron Pico, look at Aaron Pico. I watched John Anik and them, all the American podcasts so far, and they're all hyping up Pico like he's the best thing since John Jones started in the UFC. Let's see, because history proves that all the Bellator guys have been unsuccessful since coming to the UFC. let's see if he can break the curse. But I'm going to go Lerone Murphy to get the job done by a decision.
Give thanks, brother Gaia. I do apologize for not giving you guys any lines a few earlier, so I'm gonna go to those just very quickly. We do have Dricus Du Plessis starting as the 2.95 underdog against a 1.42 Khamzat Chimaev. As you can see, Aaron Pico starting as the favorite here against Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy has a 2.55 dog, so maybe a live dog there for our betting subscribers. If BG, I mean, look, if you go Dricus Du Plessis, Lerone Murphy, you make some really good money on the night. So we might have some really live underdogs here. But anyway, BG, do you have any final thoughts on this one before we move, bro?
Yeah, I'm just keen to see what happens here. What happens next with this fight? Like, what's at stake here? Lerone Murphy is ranked number 6. He's undefeated. He's basically climbing the rankings pretty quickly, if we're being real about this. So there's a lot at stake for him. You know, for Aaron Pico, it's like, you know, it's like a fast track kind of maneuver. So I'm keen to see what the UFC does after this fight, and also how they perform, because it's kind of a short or a late replacement for Aaron Pico.
Fair play. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. We'll move to the welterweight division where we see Jeff Neal come up against Carlos Prach. Jeff Neal is the number 11 ranked welterweight. He's 16-6-0, 10 wins by KO, 2 by sub, 7 first round finishes. Last time out, he beat Rafael dos Santos by round 1 KO. He's coming up against Carlos Prach, 12 ranked welterweight, 21-7-0, 16 wins by KO, 3 by sub, 9 first round finishes. Last time out, he lost to Ian Gary by unanimous decision. So Carlos Prates. Brazil. Let's go. PG, is it going to be another flash KO here for the KO machine? Getting back to winning ways? Or, I mean, is Jeff Neal going to... I believe Jeff Neal's probably a big dog here, yeah.
Underdog, yeah.
3 times your money for Jeff Neal. Fair line. How do you see this one playing out, though?
I think if you really want to bet on an underdog that could, other than Dricus and Lerone Murphy, that for me is more of a for sure bet on the underdog. This one is also not too bad. A little bit less, but I mean, it's Jeff Neal. There was a time where he was in the top 6, top 5. He was on his way to a title run. Slowed down, got injured, got hurt, took some long time off, came back, fought okay, then went to that 2 losses against Hapskat and Machado Gary. Then got back on the win streak against Dos Santos, although that wasn't really a definitive KO. Santos messed up his leg in that fight and couldn't continue. But still, Jeff Neal is... I like the way Jed described him earlier in the week to Tyler, and he was saying that Jeff Neal, he doesn't do stuff that are like, like for example, if you look at Mauricio Rufy, for example, like Mauricio Rufy does a lot of wild, almost capoeira-esque kind of maneuvers, and you're like, shit, this dude's like coming out of a video game. Even Prates has got this very Muay Thai heavy style, right? That seems to be new to the UFC fucking casuals. But Jeff Neal has the fundamentals so well, it makes him very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? His boxing is so crisp out of that southpaw stance. His in and out movement is so brilliant, and the way that he cuts the corner is fantastic. And it makes him a very dangerous athlete because he gets that basics really well, and he's got an incredible gas tank. I thought he was over 35. My dude's only 34 years old, so maybe there's still another last attempt here at the title run for him. You know what I mean? I don't know if he can get it, but I think there could be a last stretch for him to go. Listen, let me try and crack the top 5 again, and see. And at least that can be something that he can go for. And he's got the talent to do so. He's got good kicks as well. But he's going to be the shorter fighter. He's gonna be the one with the least amount of reach between the 2 guys. And Prates, where I think Jeff Neal could have the advantage over Prates is that Prates isn't a high volume striker. He doesn't go in there and blasts a bunch of combinations on you and then steps out and then fishes for another one. He doesn't do that. It's more of like 1 or 2 shots at a time, but like a lot of pinpoint accuracy and a lot of power behind it, knocking people out, right? So I think for Jeff Neal to win this fight, he's gonna have to put Carlos Prates on the back foot. Carlos Prates does his best work when he's the one that's making you walk backwards. He's slowly getting into the range, and he's just making you rethink when you need to actually throw something, right? Jeff Neal, he shouldn't be doing that. I think for Jeff Neal, because it's going to be an open stance and it's going to be predominantly a striking battle. For Jeff Neal, if I'm him, I'm gonna pop out jab, circle right, throw body kicks, throw body kicks. Maybe even go high ever so now and then as well. But what you're doing is you're forcing Carlos Prates to either stay stationary, go backwards, block a kick. You're not going to give him a chance to dictate the pace. Granted, he can always counter with that movement by throwing a overhand off a jab, or you can throw a high kick off another jab. You can counter a lot of many ways. The point is, Jeff Neal's going to have to keep Prates going backwards consistently. Sometimes even force takedowns. You take a picture of Ian Gaddy's book. We all know there's a little bit of a boring thing that Ian Gaddy had to take him down so much. But it won Ian Gaddy the fight. He grappled with Carlos Prates and it won in the fight. He knew that if he's going to continue to strike with him, he's giving Carlos Prates a better chance every single time, every single round to get closer to that knockout shot. Right? And that's what Jeff Neal needs to do here. Even if it's just a clinch, even if it's just up against the cage and clinching, throw an elbow, throw uppercuts, just do some dirty boxing, win the points, maybe try and take him down there, bring him back up again. The point is, just don't try to make it a Muay Thai fight. Don't try and stand and bang for too long. And because Carlos Prates will walk you down. He will use that length. He's phenomenal at it. And for me, he's the more dangerous fighter here. He's got a better kill switch. So that means Sheffield's going to have to do a lot more to get to that knockout, whereas Carlos Prates doesn't have to do that much to get to the knockout. So I do favor Carlos Prates in this fight, but he's going up against a fantastic legend, Jeff Neal. So don't be surprised if the old dog gets it done here. I'm going to go Carlos Prates.
Yeah, I think I also got Carlos Prates getting another flash KO here, and yeah, just making people remember what got him to the dance before the Ian Gary fight. PG, we have a guest. I believe you are expecting
Let's
company.
go.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on Fighting with Friends, it's Maximum Radin.
On mute.
Camera's off, on mute. I don't know what this guy's trip is. But anyway, we'll come back to Maximum Radin in a second, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a like on the video for Rad Max. And yeah, we'll keep moving then, BG.
Okay.
And we're going to go to the middleweight division, where Dricus Du Plessis is, of course, the champion. We have Jared Cannonier coming up against Michael Venom Page. Jared Cannonier, the killer gorilla. Number 9 ranked middleweight, is 18-8-0, 11 wins by KO, 2 by sub, 7 first-round finishes, last time out beating Robocop Gregory Rodriguez by a round 4 KO. Absolute barn burner, that one. Coming up against MVP Michael Venom Page, number 15 ranked, 23-3-0, 13 by KO, 3 wins by sub, 13 first-round finishes, last time out, beating the Bullet and absolutely shattering the hype train of the Pirate there. Was that his last fight? Didn't he lose his last fight?
Michael Venom Page.
Yeah, was that his last fight? Was that long ago?
That was February 2025.
Anyway, maybe I'm tripping because Shada Bullet also fought quite recently. But anyway, fuck that shit. Let's get back to it, bro. Absolute banger on the cards here. Very interesting prospect, I would say, for Michael Venom Page here. Because, look, since he's come to the UFC, he hasn't really hit the heights that he did in the other organizations, right? Because he was known for being flashy, which he has been. He's been an entertainer and all that. But he hasn't got that finish. He hasn't got that stamp performance. Look, he made Shada Bullet look average, but still there wasn't that finish, man. That flashy knockout for the fans that we expect from MVP. So, do you think this is going to be the night for him to make that mark? Or do you think the Killer Gorilla is possibly going to mangle this man and send him packing? What do you think there, BG?
Yeah, this fight was also making me scratch my head this entire week. I wasn't kind of sure how it's gonna play out, who's gonna do what, and but coming to the closer to recording time, I was able to really play it out properly and not to think about what I would do in the fight, but more about what would these two individuals do with their set of skills. Now they would work the fight, right? Michael Venom Page, again, I said this when they signed Chandler, when they signed all the Bellator dudes, you're signing these guys when they're at the end of their careers. There's no way that Chandler Patricio Pitbull or MVP can make a title run in the UFC right now. And if you're bringing them over when they're over 37 years old and you're bringing them into the UFC, you basically showing everyone and all the fans and all the other fighters in the UFC that we don't care about rankings. We just care about making explosive money fights. And that is why people like MVP, Pitbull, Michael Chandler are signed. It's like you guys are coming over as champions, a lot of hype, a lot of money. You bring in all the other fans with you. We'll give you top 5 guys immediately. You can see how far you can get there. And yeah, I think it's a little too late. If they had signed MVP when MVP was maybe 29, 28, going to his early 30s, you're going to get a very, very prime, dangerous MVP. You're signing him now where he's a lot older, taking less risks, fighting smarter. That's why we're not getting the knockout and highlight finish. We're not seeing the Pokeball that rolled over the octagon often. We're not getting that because he's not fighting the same way he did before. And that's not make an excuse. It's just realistic. When fighters get older, they fight smarter. They don't go balls to the wall. They only have that amount of times they can burst in the fight. They can't burst the whole time. That's kind of why we see MVP taking the chill, kind of selective with his shots, and selective with his opponents. Now for this fight, I'm gonna go MVP, right? And it's not often that I go against Jared Cannonier. I'm gonna go MVP just because MVP, even though he's 37 years old, he is still one of the hardest fighters to track down, one of the hardest guys to land on, one of the hardest guys to grapple with. You can't catch him. He's very difficult to catch. Mighty Mouse did a podcast with him that was released yesterday, and they were highlighting some of the stuff that they did when they were in the UK together, when they were training. Mighty Mouse is like, it's actually very difficult to track this dude down, catch him. His movement is absolutely amazing. And when you watch Cannonier fight against fighters that move really well, let's take the 2 examples that he lost quite significantly. That was Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya. And both of those fighters do mimic the style that of MVP. It's less taekwondo, obviously, but Whittaker likes to bounce on the front foot. Easy, he's high-level striking, lateral movement, staying out of the way. And they were all able to make Jared miss almost every shot he wanted to do. They made him strike less. They were basically beating him up. You know what I mean? For 5 rounds quite easily. And I like MVP reference the Whittaker fight because that was the fight that almost had a similar fight style to what MVP will deploy in this fight. And what it can do in that fight to try and get into it, he did a lot of inside and outside low kicks to get into the void. But what Whittaker do, he just snapped out a hard 1-2 or fast 1-2, even a 3-piece, left, right, high kick, poof, counter that drop kick from Cannonier. And then Cannonier only had one choice of throwing a leg kick. He had to block that or he had to take it. Most times he was just blocking it or taking it. So that's how I see the fight going out. I don't know if Cannonier's got the explosion that he had when he was younger, where he could just go for it, boom, boom, shoot for a takedown, take you down, and then let the power go. I think he's a step slower than what he was. He's 41 years old. Still very dangerous. I mean, he beat Gregor Rodriguez, who was on the come up. Let's be honest, Gregor Rodriguez has done phenomenally well to get himself in the top rankings of the middleweight division. Cannonier put a stop to it and showed, okay, he still can bang. He can still stand with the studs. I just don't know if he's going to be able to catch MVP, in my opinion. Granted, he's got the power. If he just needs to land one shot, MVP's lights are out. I think for Jared Cannonier in this fight, he should actually let MVP lead the dance. Let him walk you down. He will show his hand. If you watch our MVP, whenever he did lose outside of Ian Gary, you think about the fight when he fought Douglas Lima. Douglas Lima knocked him out. What Douglas Lima did in that fight, he didn't chase MVP. He was like, I'm going to stand here, pop out the jab, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just stand here. I'm going to let you come to me. And you're going to start doing your dancing moves. You're going to come down, throw a kick, whatever. And Lima just like put down his mouthpiece and threw a right hand on anything, and MVP threw at him once they were in the void. And it knocked him out. Just like Cody Garbrandt when he fought Dominic Cruz. He's like, I know I can't chase Dominic Cruz, so I'm going to stand dead still. He must come and fight me. And what that worked. It worked in his favor because now it's all about just timing an entry every single time. So Cannonier should do that, in my opinion, in this fight. He knows he won't have the speed or the stamina to be able to catch MVP over the 3 rounds. So instead, let him come to you. Force him to come into your range. Let him think that he's got the control by leading the dance. He's going to have to enter the void to hit you. And when he does do that fast dart and stuff, that's when you either duck down and shoot, or you duck down and throw over and right and you crack him and then shoot immediately after that as well. Make it a fight like that, and it will work in his favor. That's exactly what MVP said about what Khamzat should do against Dricus. I think that's what Cannonier should do to MVP in this fight if he wants to get a win here.
Give thanks, brother Gaia. And if you have any thoughts on this one, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments. Jared Cannonier is starting as the 2.65 underdog, and MVP is at 1.5 for your money. PG, do you have any final thoughts on this one, or should we move, bro?
Yeah, again, it's another high level, high stakes kind of matchup. So I'm super excited for it. I mean, it means a lot. You can see what the UFC is thinking of MVP by making him fight a top 10 middleweight. You know what I mean? MVP is not even, he's been saying that 170 is his weight, but he's happy to go for wherever the title run can be. So, you know, I think that kind of shows that the UFC is trying to move this guy up a little bit faster than what he thinks. But he has to perform, in my opinion. He has to. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's do or die. But anyway, we can go to the flyweights now. We have Kaya Sakura coming up against Tim Elliott. Kaya Sakura is the number 15 ranked flyweight. He's 21-5-0, 13 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 12 first round finishes, but he did lose to the champ by second round sub in his last fight. Quite convincingly, I might add. Alexander Pantoja is the man in the flyweight division. He's coming up against Tim Elliott, who's number 11 ranked. He's 21-13-1. 3 wins by KO, 7 by sub, 6 first round finishes, beating Sumo Dareji. Sumo Dareji by first round sub in his last fight. So BG, I was just wanting to play out there.
Happy to see Kaya Sakura back, eh? Yeah, he got fit to the wolves in his first fight, and nothing to be ashamed about. Let's be real. It's Alexander Pantoja, pound top 5, easy. And if you lose to him, it's like, yeah, you lost to the best. So no, you shouldn't have any issues with that one. But he did show some good stuff in that fight. He was tagging Pantoja. He did land some stuff. He did show us what he was doing in Ryzen, right? We got to see the flashy knee, got to see the good striking. But Pantoja was just like, I'm the champion right here. He walked right through it and beat him up quite easily, right? So nothing away from that performance. Asakura is still a very, very dangerous fighter. Tom Elliott, on the other hand, has been in and out, right? He was in the UFC, again got terminated from the organization, then got brought back into the Ultimate Fighter House, wins that season, gets back into the UFC, tries to make a title run, doesn't really get there. You know, he just gets just out of range again. He's now getting a little bit older. He's 38 years old. Yeah, I don't know. When he came back to the UFC, his record wasn't there. He was winning and losing against guys that weren't even in the top 15. So, yeah, I don't know. I was also never a big fan of the minute. I always felt like he was trying to mimic Dominic Cruz's style, but couldn't really get it right. He's got some above average wrestling, above average striking, but nothing masterful. You know what I mean? And also his last fight was in 2023 against Sumo Daji. Sumo Daji has fought 2 times after that and won one, lost one. Sumo Daji, in my opinion, is more of a contender than Tim Elliott at this stage, even though Sumo Daji is not ranked yet. So what's going to happen in this fight? Tim Elliott's going to find out really, really quickly that he's going to have to wrestle because they're similar in height. Kaya Sakura loves to strike. We know that he's got a very deadly stepping knee, and also very good counter striking as well. And his wrestling is not that bad. He's not like the best offensive wrestler, but because he's such a predominant striker, he had to work on a lot of takedown defense, which made Kaya Sakura very dangerous because people can't really take him down. Even against that fight against Pantoja, let's be real, that first round, Pantoja wrestled heavily with him, but he did a good job scrambling in that first round and trying to keep Pantoja busy. Obviously, the second round, he had no more defense for it. But that showed me that the dude does do the fundamental defenses correctly when it comes to being taken down. So I don't know if Tim Elliott's wrestling is that of Pantoja. In fact, I don't think it is at all. So I don't think the threats are going to be as big as it was when he fought against Pantoja. I think Kaya Sakura as well doesn't want to go 2-fight losing streak, right? He obviously wants to put on a big show because he is that fighter that the UFC can bank on to take the UFC to Japan. So I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura here. I think he's going to win. I want him to win, but I think he's going to win also because he's younger. He's got the stuff to be able to really make a name for himself in this division. I just don't know. As long as Pantoja is the champion, I just don't think he's going to be a champion in this organization until the top 5 seems to change. So, but that being said, I think Kaya Sakura can put together maybe 3 fights, good win streak. He's back in there in the top 5, in the top 6, top 7. Tim Elliott, at 38 years old, having a second run at the UFC contract and having another poor run again. In my opinion, if he loses here, he's probably going to get cut again. So that can make him dangerous, but I don't think he's got this tool set to actually go and beat Kaya Sakura there. Unless he just like grapples for 3 rounds and wins by decision.
Keep thanks, Brother Gaia, once again. Brother Gaia keeping you up to date and rounding out the main card for us quite nicely. So yeah, PG, you did highlight a few prelims that you wanted to get into, bro. So I think we got that Max, but I'm not sure if he's.
If he is, we can go to him first, maybe for the main and co-main.
Let's see.
I'll
continue.
There we go.
Yo. Sorry for the
time
poor camera
ever,
quality
ladies
here,
and
guys. I'm
gentlemen.
having a heavy delay on my side.
No worries, bro, no worries.
Yeah, what champ is here? Gentlemen, how's the weekend so far?
Yo, lekker, bro.
All good, bro. All good. Brandon, give us your thoughts here, bro. You are a bit late to the party, but we really are very interested to hear your thoughts for the main
My
event.
mommy
bro.
said
So
rather
give it
late
to
than
us
never, my bro.
as quickly as you can, please, bro.
Do this here quickly. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear me all good?
All
Yeah,
good,
we can
bro.
hear you perfectly fine, bro.
Okay. We're in the mix. Bro, I'm amped for this card, bro. I really, you know what? You can't bet against Dricus. You know, he's shown us time and time again, bro. Homie's just shown us, and you know, everybody's got the same. There's the same little kind of a landscape that's being painted, saying that, you know, he's awkward, that he's, you know, his style is different. But whatever works for him, bro, and the shit's working for him.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
You
So
know
how
what
does
I mean?
Dricus
But
get it
look
done
at
for you, bro?
in the same, but listen, before we even get to that, in the same breath, Chimaev, bro, is no slouch. He's no slouch. I've been watching the Jackson podcast, catching up with him because he's been training with them at Is it Sanchez? No, Sanchez. Yep, he's been training with them. And bro, yeah, homie looks good, bro. Homie looks good, and even the what's his name? The guy that nobody likes, Brendan Sharp. B Sharp was saying that his cardio looks good. He said he was destroying Oaks all the way through the foot. But bro, it's not in a fight, bro. Training and fighting when the cage is closed and the fire starts to burn, I think it's going to be a different story. I feel like Dricus is he's bigger than him. It's going to come down to the first. In my opinion, it comes down to the first. I don't see the Chimaev holding him down. I really don't see it happening. I see the scramble being won by Dricus every time, in my opinion. But the Lion King for the win. Yeah, bro. I just see Dricus overpowering him, and I feel like once Dricus puts it on him, because I mean Burns rocked him, bro. Gilbert Burns, we know he's a killer. He's got savage hands, brother. But Dricus has been putting Oaks away left, right, and center. Is 8? Is he 8-0 now, right?
9.
9-0, 9-0 exactly 9-0 in the UFC. He's got 2 title defenses, bro. I don't see this being an easy fight for Chimaev. I see Dricus putting it away in the third.
In the third, nicely done. So there you go,
In the
ladies and
third,
gentlemen.
yeah,
If you
in
are
the
betting, bet it all on Dricus in the third and tell them Rad Max sent you. But give thanks, Rad Max. That was the Rad Max minute, ladies and gentlemen, bringing you up to date with his take on the main event. Rad Max, unfortunately, you were a little bit late. I know you had a few technical problems.
No stress,
but we
no
were
stress,
about to
bro.
get to the prelims. Do you want to give us any thoughts on prelims, or should we just leave that to Brother Gaia to do his thing here?
Let's hear what Brother Guy has to say. I haven't even seen the card yet, bro. I haven't even checked the full card yet myself.
Okay, no worries then, bro.
It's all that matters.
We will go to some prelims, bro, and we'll get out of your way to do your thing, bro. So without any further ado, PG. Oops, that's not
often. It's not often that I have this many notes for the prelims, because I mean the prelims sometimes are very sparse of top talent, right? But these prelims are actually really good in terms of the matchups as well. So let's start on the first one: King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Carlos Diego Ferreira, to be exact. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight in terms of neither guy can really go anywhere in the division, if you're being honest, right, for that lightweight division. But I think it's still a good fight for the fans. It's one of those throwbacks. Diego Ferreira has been kind of on the run prior to his last fight when he lost against Grant Dawson. But before that, he was going out there, putting them some good wins. He only really lost against some top guys. Mateusz Gamma, one of them as well. But what I liked about Diego Ferreira is that he showed me a lot of composure in his last couple of fights. Like, he can actually be relaxed as the fight goes on. He doesn't really rush. He doesn't really get tired. He picks his shots, good striking, very, very competent wrestling as well. King Green has significantly slowed down since, like, I mean, let's be honest, he's been on the UFC for how long now? Taking on the best guys in lightweight division. Lisa Rufi was just an example to show him that, like you're done. Like, your time is over, because King Green can't compete with the newer breed. This fight will be more competitive because Diego Ferreira isn't of the new breed. He's of the older guard. So it's going to be a stand-up fight. The moment you see King Green trying to shoot takedowns, you know that's when there's nothing left in his tank anymore. Now he's just trying to panic shoot, get people down, and be safe there. So I'll give King Green maybe the first round, and then I'll probably after that I'll say round 2, round 3, Diego Ferreira on decision, takes control of the fight, lands more powerful shots, let hands go, better in the grappling stuff and takedowns, and just being the more composed fighter and landing the more devastating blows. Green, what does he have really? He has darts. He can dart forward, and that's about it. And it's very readable as well. He telegraphs those darts in the same breath. So, and also he's significantly slower than what he was. I'm gonna go Diego Ferreira to get the job done. Let's go Brazil. Winning on unanimous decision. Any thoughts before I go on? You guys have any thoughts before I continue? No? Okay. Let's keep it going. Lerone Murphy taking on Michal Olizasek. This is a fun fight. Someone's going to go to sleep here. It's either going to be a knockout for Michal Olizasek or it's going to be a submission win for Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy of the old guard as well. I love this man's record. It's absolutely insane. 7 wins, 19 losses. That's like, okay, whatever. But 29 wins by sub, my dude. Like, that is legendary status in my opinion. Okay, he lost to Brad Tavares in his last fight, but I mean, he's an old dude, let's be honest. And Lerone Murphy, his one thing is to take you down and tap you out, right? Olizasek is younger. He's the more vibrant fighter. His record is 20 wins, 9 losses, no contest, 15 wins by KO. He beats Dricus Domas by first round KO. But that's what we like about Olizasek, right? Very good boxing. Very, very good boxing. And I'm also happy he's fighting in the welterweight division and not fighting middleweight. Middleweight, he was getting crushed all the time. So I'm happy that he's come down and there's still middleweight. Okay. I don't think he should be fighting this division in my opinion. I think he should be coming down to welterweight where he might be the bigger fighter, but also to be a more natural size for him. I think he's very undersized for middleweight, but let's see what he's got. I think he's got the boxing advantage here. I think he's got the speed advantage as well. So I think as long as he doesn't get taken down, Michal Olizasek gets the job done, either first or second round KO. Let's go. Next fight. Top ranking fight for the women's strawweight division. Yes, it is. You got Jessica Andrade, former strawweight champion, ranked number 5 in the strawweight division. Record is 26 wins, 14 losses, no contest. 10 wins by KO, 8 wins by sub, 11 first round finishes. Lost to Jasmine Jastovicius by first round sub in the last fight. She's taken on Lupi Godinez, fun fighter, ranked number 11 in the women's strawweight division. Record is 13 wins, 5 losses, no contest. 1 win by KO, 2 wins by sub, and then 2 first round finishes. She beat Julia Polastri by unanimous decision. I think that was a Mexican fight card, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Lupi Godinez also fought that fight card with food poisoning. That fight, which is quite interesting. She still won. I think this fight's going to play out. I don't know, hey, Jessica Andrade, she's gone from being like one of the most devastating fighters to watch, knocking out people, slamming Rose Namajunas to the ground. But that's in the past, right? That's more than 5 years ago. So it's like, since then, she lost the title to Wei Li. It's like she's just been losing. She's just been getting beaten by everybody. Everyone's able to figure out. She kind of know what she's going to do to you. She's not really going to be putting you in submissions. She's not going to try and double leg you and then put you in an armbar or put you in a DOS or some shit like that. She's going to come into the void and she's going to John Lineker your ass. She's going to plant her feet, square up with you, and she's going to try and attack you with all kinds of shots. A lot of hooks to the body, a lot of hooks to the head. That's what she does. And it kind of makes it easy for the opponents to kind of read her. They know what to do with that. They're like, okay, we're not going to give you that chance to do that. We're going to tag you every time you're trying to come in. We're going to circle off to the left or circle off to the right. And we're going to tag you again because you're going to try and chase us with the head open. You're not going to keep your guard here because she never keeps her hands up for some reason. She always keeps her hands here. Like she just ready to tag you. And it's gotten her that far, but I feel like the game has evolved to the point where she's not going to be able to be that same fighter that she was, because fighters are just privy to her style now. So I'm going to go Lupiko Dines over decision. However, there is the outside chance, and it's more bigger than what we think, that Jessica Andrade can actually knock out Lupiko Dines. It just takes one of those shots to knock her out. No one else, I mean, no one else in the UFC, in the women's division, hits as hard as Jessica Andrade. Even AJ's favorite fighter of all time, what's her name? The only American champion that's in the UFC right now. Get her name now again.
Kayla,
she doesn't even hit as hard as Jessica Andrade. You just want to take me off the screen. What's the women's bantamweight champion?
Is the Kayla Addison?
Not important.
Oh, not bantamweight.
Oh, bantamweight. What is she?
Kayla Addison.
Kayla Addison, yes.
Yeah.
She's arguably the biggest, the most powerful fighter in the UFC right now for the women in terms of pure strength. But she doesn't even hit as hard as Jessica Andrade. And Jessica Andrade is half her size. Right? I just think Lupiko Dines is going to play the smart fight here and stay on the outside. Don't get taken down. Don't get put in a wild exchange. Win the fight on decision. That's how it's going to play out. But Jessica Andrade has to do something massive to get back into that winning streak. I mean, she's still ranked number 5, right? So there's a lot at stake for her here as well. She can't afford to lose that number. And for Lupiko Dines, a win here does catapult her up that rankings. So let's go. Let's keep it moving. Next fight is Chase Hooper. Fun fight, actually. Chase Hooper taking on Alexander Hernandez. This is the second coming of Chase Hooper, the young boy. No longer a boy, he's now a young man. Record is 16 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest. He's got 4 wins by KO, 8 wins by sub, 6 first-round finishes, and he lost to Jim fucking Miller, unanimous decision in his last fight. He's taken on Alexander the Great Hernandez, who's also got 16 wins, 8 losses, 0 no contest, 6 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub, 7 first-round finishes. He beat Kurt Hollabaugh by unanimous decision in his last fight. Very uneventful fight, by the way. But okay, well done to that. I don't think this fight's going to play out. I want to go Chase Hooper. You know what I mean? I want to go with Mr. Elastic. It's going to be able to get the submission there. I just don't think Alexander Hernandez is going to want to take him down. He's going to keep the fight standing where he's got the advantage. I see this fight's at lightweight, and then there was a middleweight. It's coming down, so I expect him to have the power advantage. I expect him to have the size advantage and the reach advantage. But is it going to translate? You know what I mean? Because Hernandez has shown us in his past few fights that he doesn't really have the stamina to go the third round. It's not a 5-round fight even. You see him really tired in the third round. So if he doesn't get Hooper out of there, bro, Hooper's going to come at him in that third round and look for a takedown and try and get a submission win here, which is probably going to be a likely opportunity for him. When Hernandez is tired, he doesn't have any good defense. So either Hernandez wins this fight in the early rounds with the stoppage. It's hard to knock out Chase Hooper. We've seen people crack him, and then the man still, for some reason, he's still in the fight. I don't know how he gets that right. So I don't know who to pick on this one, to be honest with you, but I'm expecting a fun fight here. Chase Hooper has never really been in boring fights, if you're being honest. I think the second coming of Chase Hooper is going to be quite interesting. I don't think it's going to be as green as the way he was when he fought against who beat him in his last fight. What's his name? John Miller, and who was before that? Another legend, Clay Guida. He took on 2 legends, 2 very, very experienced fighters. That both of them were more than 10 years older than Chase Hooper. So I didn't think he was going to beat them either. But okay, this is going to be a fun fight. I think I'm going to go with the young guy. I'm going to go Chase Hooper because Hernandez is just boring. It's just a boring fight in my opinion. But that should be a big fight, especially because Hernandez is coming down from the middleweight division. I'm intrigued to see what it looks like in the lightweight. It's a big weight cut for him, so I'm intrigued to see what it looks like here. But let's go Chase Hooper. Right, let's keep it moving. Next fight, we have Edson Barboza, another legend on the fight card, taking on Drakkar Klose. Interesting fight. This is kind of like a sending off for Barboza, we put it that way. Because Drakkar Klose isn't really a top-ranked athlete. People talk about his fight against Beneil Dariush. That was his best fight he ever had in the UFC, and he lost that fight. He got knocked out. You know what I mean? That's like his biggest highlight reel in the fight of him getting knocked out. I know he landed 2 knockdowns in that fight, but he still lost. Still got KO'd. But anyway, it's about Bosa, legend. We know what he's all about. He's fought for the title, I think. Not mistaken, but he's been in there with the best guys. Just puts on amazing performances. Still very much known for that spinning wheel kick knockout. His record in the UFC is 24 wins, 12 losses, no contest, 4 wins by KO, 8 first round finishes. He lost to Lerone Murphy in his last fight. But also look where Lerone Murphy is right now. He's almost fighting for a title soon. Knockout close. His record is 15 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest, 6 wins by KO, 3 first round finishes. He lost to my guy, Joel Alvarez. Hopefully he comes back very soon because I think he's a top talent for the lightweight division. That was a first round KO. That's knockout close for you, right? He's either going to knock you out or he's going to get knocked out. That's how it goes. And I think that's what we're going to see in this fight. It's going to be a standout war. Neither guy is going to shoot, even though knockout close can wrestle a little bit. But I think he's going to try and prove a point that he can knock out a very good striker in Itama Bosa. Itama Bosa is the old guard. I don't know if he can still go the 3 rounds the same way he did in the past. He does slow down. He always used to get tired, even back then when he was competing at the peak of his powers. He would still slow down. He's very muscle bound, right? But I think someone's going to go to sleep here. And when I pick a winner, I'm going to go to Barbosa. Let's go with the old guard. He's going to stop Dricus Close, in my opinion, because he's more skillful. He's got better weapons, good Muay Thai. And Dricus Close is more of a boxer, but he's always getting tagged. He's always getting tagged in his fights. So I think Barbosa's going to get him. Yeah, that's my opinion over there. Let's keep it moving to the opening bout of that prelims. Actually, I know the website shows that there's only one elite prelim, but I think the fight I just spoke about now, it's in Barbosa. This fight, Brian Battle, and the opening fight, I think that's actually the elite prelims. But anyway, this fight, Brian the Butcher Battle, taking on Nur Sultan Ruziboev. Ruziboev, I'm not the biggest fan. My guy got caught doping twice. Both of his fights were no contests for doping. So I'm just like, the force is a bit off, yeah, right? And also his last fight against Dustin Stillfoots, who I thought he was going to KO. He didn't KO. The duck. Stillfoots is always there for anyone to knock out. Even I can go in there and take him out. Ruziboev didn't even get that finish. And I was like, nah, dude. Nah. What's going on here? So anyway, Brian the Battle Butcher. Record is 13 wins, 2 losses, no contest, 4 wins by KO, 6 wins by submission, 3 first round finishes. He beat Randy Brown by split decision in his last fight. And I left the fans feeling a little bit like, should we still support this guy or not? I still think he's a dog. I think he's a very good fighter to watch. I think the best is still yet to come from Brian Battle. For Nur Sultan, I don't know, dude. He's definitely taller, he's bigger, he's going to have the advantages in this fight. Brian Battle, I still think, in my opinion, should maybe go down to welterweight, not fight middleweight. But let's see what he does here. Ruziboev, his record is 36 wins, 9 losses, 2 no contests. Exactly my point. 13 wins by KO, 20 wins by sub, 25 first round finishes. Anyway, and he couldn't knock out Dustin Stillfoots. Yeah, like that makes sense. I think Brian Battle's going to beat him up, going to wrestle him, make him tired, and then get him out of there maybe in the round 2 or round 3. Probably he's going to do it in the 3rd round because that's where Ruziboev is kind of depleted. He has no more defense in that point. He's very dangerous in the 1st round. He's got fantastic boxing, good high kicks on him as well. So Brian Battle's going to have to be very defensively sound in that 1st round. But I do think that Brian Battle needs to, even if it's clinching, just grapple with him early. Because Brian Battle is a kind of fighter that's ugly. He fights a very ugly fight. He doesn't do pretty things. He doesn't do flashy weapons. He's the kind of fighter that makes it a very ugly fight. Ruling, grinding kind of performances. I think he's going to have to do something like that in this fight. Don't be traditional. No, don't be traditional. Go and fight it like it's a street fight. You can see how uncomfortable Ruziboev is going to be. Let's go, Brian Battle. I think that rounds out the prelims.
That does indeed round out the prelims, brother guy. I give thanks. Nice to have Rad Max on board this evening for such a major event. So give thanks, Rad Max. So as always is tradition here at Fighting with Friends BG, we're going to go for a pre-fight score for the card out of 10. I'll come to you in a second, Rad Max.
Okay, out of 10. I actually really like these matchups, Eddie. I'm not going to lie, dude. I really do like the matchups on the fight card. So I'm going to give it a solid 7.5. Maybe even I'm inclined to give it an 8. Just because I think they're great matchups. But I'm going to leave it at a 7.5 purely because the UFC has disappointed many a times the last couple of years. So let's see. Let's see if it can go a bit higher. But I'm sure Dricus is going to make sure they get to a 9 for me at the end of this weekend.
Let's go. Max, I think your microphone might be disconnected. That's the
It's on mute.
feedback I'm getting here from StreamYard.
2 1 2 1 2.
There we go. There he is. What's give us a score out of 10 there, Max, for this card. What do you think?
I'm gonna go 8 now. I have to go 8. Just on the fact that just looking at the card, Michael Venom Page is on the card. We got
Yeah.
Tom Elliott, we got Jeff Neal, we got Edson Barboza. You got, bro, there's even Jessica Andrade, who are big fighters who may have fallen off in the people's eyes, but still they were the ones to watch coming up, through the ranks. They've all gone on title runs, and some of them have made it, some of them didn't make it. But for me, it's an 8 out of 10 just to get to see all this, all these ex-greats. Those who were there, those who have done it, and you know what, they still doing it. So it's gonna be an 8 for me, gents.
Give
Let's
thanks, Redbacks, give thanks. Yeah, I think 7.58 is a good score there, boys. It is a big card. I mean, especially if you consider the other cards that the UFC have been putting on. Might bias our opinions a little bit. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm also going to go with an 8. Gonna be a 10 when Dricus gets done. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made it this far in the video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We've got more content coming so you can watch the podcast every day. Joe Rogan. Max, anything you want to say to the people before we
Podcast by
sign
night.
you out, bro?
All day.
Right, PG, could you please sign us out, bro, while I prepare the necessary?
Let's go. Yeah, like Eddie was saying, thank you to everybody that has tuned into our content. Much love to everybody. Yeah, and also stay tuned for our lives this weekend. It's Fight Week, people. We're gonna go live. We've got Friday fights coming up on Friday for one championship. That's gonna be a banger. It's a crazy card. Stay tuned for my preview for that one tomorrow. But also on Sunday, we are gonna be live for the UFC, starting from the prelims. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Get the banter going, let's get the chats going. Let's go, Dricus! Bring that title, homeboy. For myself, all the guys from Fighting with Friends. Much love to everybody, and we will catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Chihuahua.